In this video, I'll be making a front wing section. It involves contoured folds and a double curvature. So let's stop mucking about and get on with it. Both sides have had a previous repair. The near side doesn't follow the bumper very well, so I'm going to start with the off side, which does. The first thing to do is remove the filler and paint. I've cleaned up both sides to find all the holes, and now I'm making a template to follow the folded edge, marking its location for realignment later. I've done the same from the bottom edge. While I'm making this part, I noticed these paint rust bubbles on the boot lid here, which reminds me of a time I went to look at a Vauxhall Chevette. There was an area like this on the front wing, and I said to the owner, "That looks like it will go through." He replied, "Nah, that won't go through, mate." I had a screwdriver in my hand, so I did this. He goes, "What did you do that for?" I said, "Because you said it wouldn't go through." The only reason he said it won't go through was to try and get a cheaper quote out of me, and I wasn't having that. Do you know, he was a bit annoyed at me for doing that, but really, I think I should have been annoyed at him. I got the job anyway, and he was fine. I actually went on to do a load of welding and a bare metal respray on his Fiat X19. I was still doing this mobile then, and I actually sprayed it with 2-pack in his garage. Absolutely nuts looking back at it. Do you know, on the day the top coat was sprayed, he invited his friend to come and watch the process. That was the last thing I wanted. Someone watching me, and also someone to keep an eye on to make sure they weren't breathing in the fumes. Another odd thing he did one day was I was working on his car in the garage, and he came out to see how I was doing. He said, "Oh, you've moved the car?" I replied, "No, I haven't moved it." He said, "Yes, you have. It's moved." I again replied, "No, I haven't moved it." He wouldn't have it. I thought to myself, this is proper weird. Shall I just say I did move it to stop the argument? Then I thought, well, no, I can't do that. Then he'll think I'm a liar. Eventually, we moved on from that conversation, but how odd is that? It didn't make any difference if I had moved it anyway. If I needed to move it, I would have. And I wouldn't have consulted him first. Very strange. He might have had some mental problems looking back. I suppose he did have a Fiat X19, which was a bit of a giveaway. Okay, I better talk about what I'm doing now. As you've seen, I've shaped the panel to a double curvature and made the templates to make sure the folded edges follow the wing contours. It's just a case of moving the scribed line out by the fold length, cutting the edge, and then using my odd leg calipers to transfer the line to the back side. Then I can use the swage to fold the edge. I modified these bending rolls to bend still by forming a V. This works quite well, but you have to go gentle with it. If you force the top roll too hard into the bottom roll, it'll indent into the panel where you don't want it. If you go gentle, it works fine, and I'm using it here to sharpen the fold. I want a smaller radius, and these rolls will do that. I'm really happy with the alignment of the two folded edges. It can be really hard to get folded edges to align. You really have to be quite accurate to achieve nice alignment. On a high crown panel like this, heat distortion is less of an issue. I still keep everything fairly cool throughout the welding process, as is good practice. This is what you want to see on the back side of the panel. Good penetration, and have the welder amps up as high as you dare. Going quick and hot and get out quick is the way. Always check for pinholes. If not found, these are potential rust bubbles in the paint later. Some people will seal the inside of the weld area with Tiger Seal, but it isn't necessary if you check for pinholes. Something to check is that the panel flows well from one bit to another. No kinks and a smooth radius. We can see the bumper has a uniform gap around the edge and looks good. The nice thing when making templates is that we now use them on the other side, and this will ensure uniformity. It's quite obvious to see where the previous repair wasn't quite right. This was a reasonable attempt by a car restorer, not an MOT repairer, I would suggest. It was an overlap repair, which I don't like, but they did at least make the panel in one piece. If you happen to be a wizard, you'll like this. Not a lot, but you'll like it. We can simply use the spell, "The metal man, please reconstruct, make this car a little less rusty."